Don't do this if you're having panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about something that people do a lot when they're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And that is they hyperfocus on the physical symptoms. So when you're having an anxiety attack, something internally or externally, something inside of you or outside of you has triggered a false alarm in your body. When you're having a panic attack, it's just a false alarm in your body. It can happen to you without a trigger. And that is the difference between panic and anxiety attacks. But they feel the same. And so they look different in each person, but some common physical symptoms can include feeling nauseous, throwing up, feeling dizzy, feeling lightheaded, dry mouth. You might feel wobbly on your feet. Your heart might be going a mile a minute. It might be hard for you to catch your breath. So which ones happen for you? I know for me, depending on how intensely anxious I am and how full-blown my panic or anxiety attack is, I used to get panic attacks when I was in college, and I could get an anxiety attack if I am surprised that I have to present in front of a whole bunch of people. That actually happened once where I thought I was presenting in front of like 20 people, and then I went into the room and it was a ballroom full of hundreds of people. I had a full-blown anxiety attack at that point. And so that's different than a panic attack. But for me, I can feel nauseous, my mouth goes really dry, I feel lightheaded, I feel weak, my heart's going a mile a minute, I can feel like my stomach is in my throat. What does it feel like for you? Now, those feelings in and of themselves create a lot of anxiety and panic, because for me, I don't want to pass out in front of people. I don't want to throw up in front of people. I'm immobilized, like I can't move or function. And so the physical part of it is the overwhelming part of it. When I had panic attacks, it would just come on out of nowhere. I was worried about my heart. It was just, going a mile a minute, and I would feel outside of my body. So what is it for you? What physical things in your body make you panic when you're having an anxiety or panic attack? Because that is actually what creates the attack, is the loop. And so we get anxious, whether we're just having a false alarm or something has happened that has triggered a false alarm. And the body has gotten the message, the brain has gotten the message that we're about to do some emergency situation type of stuff. And so the body will protect you by releasing a lot of cortisol and adrenaline so that your legs can run and you can escape and you can get out of that situation that doesn't exist. Digestion can slow down, or it can release whatever you're holding. And so you might have to go to the bathroom really quick. But it will have physical responses. And once that emergency bell is rung, it can't be unrung. And so those chemicals have to ride the wave. You have to ride the wave, get them out of your system. And what I've noticed a lot of people doing is they will do coping mechanisms for anxiety or panic attacks, like square breathing or take some breaths or grounding techniques or all these really good things. But they do that with the thought that if I do this, then the physical symptoms are going to go away. And unfortunately, once the bell is rung, the emergency bell is rung, it has to ride its course. And so you have to ride the wave of anxiety while doing the things that you need to do and feeling the uncomfortable feeling that those chemicals have done to your body. And that's really hard. The problem is people do these things, they ground themselves, they take deep breaths, they journal, they listen to music, they take a walk, they pet their dog, they do all these things that are coping mechanisms. And then they're like, is it gone yet? Is it gone yet? It's still here. I still feel nauseous, or I still feel shaky. And so it revs it back up. It's like a fuel line to the emergency alarm. It keeps telling the emergency alarm, we're still having an emergency. We're still having an emergency. And so then more cortisol, more adrenaline is pumping through your body because it's like, we're still having an emergency. No one shut off the emergency. I don't think this is a false alarm. And then you're like, oh, I still feel nauseous, or I still feel shaky, or still my heart's still going, I'm still having a hard time breathing. And so then you're like, let me breathe, let me journal, let me walk, let me talk, let me pet the dog. And then you go back and you assess the situation. Do I still feel nauseous? Do I still feel shaky? I do. Hit the emergency bell again, right? So more adrenaline and cortisol is pumping through your body, and this is a vicious loop. And what people wind up doing is they avoid doing anything that's going to trigger an anxiety attack, or they avoid going outside because they're afraid of panic attacks because they don't feel in control. They don't know how to stop them. And the way to stop them is to acknowledge that once the emergency alarm bell has rung, you don't have full control and you have to ride the wave, accept the physical feelings. Yep, I'm feeling nauseous. My body got a false alarm. And if I react like it's a real emergency, my body's going to be like, high five. That was a good call. Next time, let's do it a little sooner. Next time, let's do it a little bit louder. And so we have to train our brain to say, I'm having a false alarm. It feels really uncomfortable in my body. I'm very uncomfortable, but I need to go do the things that I need to do, because if I avoid them, this is especially with anxiety attacks, if I avoid them, then I'm going to get more anxiety attacks. It's going to be harder the next time. With panic attacks, if I avoid going out or I avoid being somewhere and home is home base, then my world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And the more I go out, the more it triggers my panic because I think I can't handle it. So either way, it's really important to ride the wave. And I know this firsthand because I've had both panic and anxiety attacks, and I'm raising kids who, unfortunately, my kids, because it's highly genetic, who have had panic and anxiety attacks. And the most effective way to work through them, I don't get them anymore unless, you can always get an anxiety attack, but I don't get panic attacks anymore because I have taken the power away from the panic. And I say, if I feel the panic, I'm going to ride the wave. And my daughter, who's dealing with it right now, she feels really anxious or she feels nauseous, she feels shaky, but she knows if she avoids that it is going to get worse. And she knows that she has to accept those feelings, that there's nothing that she can necessarily do to stop those physical feelings. You can make them shorter. So if it's not to say that deep breathing or journaling, or petting your dog, or distracting yourself, or talking to someone, or going for a walk, those are all fantastic things to do. It's not to say stop doing them, but stop having the expectation that is going to instantly turn off the emergency alarm in your body. It's almost like sitting there and accepting, yep, I'm having a false alarm. It physically feels gross. I'm going to continue doing the things that I care about and things that I need to do while riding the wave of this physical feeling. Oh, and I know it's so hard because it feels so miserable. But when you get to the other side, you're really training your brain that it was a false alarm. And over time, those alarms get quieter and quieter and shorter because your brain is learning through your actions that it is a false alarm. So I hope that you find that helpful. I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do. And I'll be back again next Thursday. Take care.